Hello fellow fraggers, my name is Frag himself, and as you probably know, a month ago in Frag, we've received two new characters, Piper Reese and Evil Piper. In the last month, I've had a lot of time to play with both of these characters, and I honestly think that both of these characters are really good, somewhere in the top 10 best cards in the game, but I do prefer Evil Piper over Piper Reese. In this video, I'm going to explain why I think that, and I'm going to analyze both of these cards by different subcategories. You can see them on your screen right now, the timestamps are going to be in the description, and with all that said, if you end up enjoying the video, please remember to subscribe and hit the like, and now let's get into it. The first thing we're going to talk about with these cards is their main fire. This is maybe the most important thing a character needs to have. It's the most basic way a character can fire and deal damage to enemies and bunkers, and a good main fire is really important to have a good character. So the first one we're gonna talk about is Evil Piper. Evil Piper can shoot in bursts of 3 projectiles that can hit for 50 damage for my Evil Piper at level 10. In every clip, you're gonna have 21 projectiles, which is 7 bursts of 3. This character really has a great DPS. We're talking one of the best DPS in the game surprisingly, at around 175 at maximum at level 10. This is really good and it can help attack on bunkers a lot or even on enemies that have a high amount of HP. Unfortunately, she does lack in range. She can shoot pretty far, but her damage at long distance is definitely not as high. I would also say she's pretty inconsistent, or at least for me, I sometimes have trouble hitting all of her shots, and I don't think that the fact that she shoots in bursts helps with that. However, we gotta remember she's got a really good DPS, she's got a headshot multiplier, decent range, although her damage is not that great at long ranges, so honestly that really gives her a great main fire. Now moving on to Piper, her main fire is completely different and it really allows for a completely different playstyle. The main difference for Piper Reese is her range. She can shoot at a range of 100 meters at any level, so that's really, that is a long range. However, with her main fire, Piper Reese is able to shoot projectiles at a huge range, but that's really not all what they do. They can also explode once they reach their target. So what's gonna happen is you shoot your projectile, and it's gonna hit for a certain amount of damage, but after that, the opponent that you shot will sort of be hit with a time bomb that will explode in about a second and a half. This time bomb actually deals much more damage, and once it actually explodes in a radius and it can hit many cards at once. You can also shoot walls or the ground, and your time bomb is still gonna work the same. So you can shoot the ground, and if an enemy walks up to that time bomb in a second and a half, they're gonna receive damage. She doesn't have as much damage. As you'll see, her DPS is, it shows that it's really low. We're talking about 30 to 50 DPS at level 10, but that is not her actual DPS. I've done the math and her DPS is actually 110 at level 10. That is still really good, but it's definitely not as good as Evil Piper's DPS, which was 175, remember. Piper Reese is still gonna have a 1.4 times damage multiplier, which is good, just like Evil Piper. And with a clip of 10 ammo, she can really do some damage. So we've seen both of these cards main fire. They're both pretty good main fire, completely different. If you were to force me to pick the best one, I would say it's Evil Piper's, partly because her main fire allows her to go on bunkers a lot more, and she can deal with enemies at a close range much easier. She can deal more damage at close ranges, but of course Piper Reese is going to be much better at long ranges. She is one of the best snipers in the game, if not the best sniper in the game right now, so do not underestimate her main fire just because I think Evil Piper's main fire is better. Now for the next category, we simply have the basic stats of every card. So for both of these cards, they have the same HP, like completely equal. That's gonna make the comparison a little easier. For the speed, we have Evil Piper, which is slightly faster. She's got 12.6 kilometers per hour normally, and 9.7 while shooting. And for Evil Piper, it is slightly slower, like 10% slower, at 11.6 kilometers per hour normally, and 8.7 while shooting. Both of these speeds are pretty normal, though Evil Piper is gonna have a big advantage because she can walk much faster. Both of these characters are also going to have the same respawn time, again making the comparison much easier. For the types of the characters, they're both infantry, and Piper Reese is going to be strong against digital, while Evil Piper is strong against building. Honestly, I pretty much never considered the type stats on characters, but I figured if you would want to know, there you go. So in my opinion, who has the best basic stats? Again, it's Evil Piper. They're pretty much the same for both of these cards, except that Evil Piper can go a little bit faster, which obviously is useful. Alright, moving on to the next category. Alright, now we have the big explosive category, and that is the ultimate abilities. These really make every single card in the game unique, so we're gonna talk about them. So the first one we have is Evil Piper. This ultimate ability is kind of insane. At first, this character can explode, which means that she deals a huge amount of damage, as you can see here, the base damage, but she deals it at a super small range that can pretty much only hit enemies that she's like right next to. But that's not all. She can also deal damage sort of in the style of Tank Bot ultimate ability by launching balls of fires that can do a huge amount of damage and that are also very easy to hit. They're almost like, well, they're pretty much like Andromeda projectiles before her nerf, and these balls of fire actually deal 165 damage per second. This means that her main fire actually deals a higher DPS than her balls of fire. I know it's pretty surprising, it was surprising to me too, but those balls of fire are much easier to hit, much more consistent, and they deal the same amount of damage regardless of the range. So by playing this card, it's completely reasonable to think that her balls of fire deal more damage, because I mean concretely they will deal more damage than your main fire when you play her. This ultimate ability can keep shooting balls of fire for 10 seconds and the cooldown is 14 seconds. So you can see you're gonna spend a lot of your time in game actually using your ultimate ability, which is really fun. I think this ultimate ability is a good escape option because you do get also a 30% damage reduction while you are using it. So that makes you pretty much 30% buffer, right? You're harder to kill. And you also don't lose any speed using it. It kind of looks like you do, but you don't. In 1v1, this ultimate ability is a great tool to take out an enemy consistently. Most cards are not gonna have the tools to get rid of Evil Piper when she's in her ultimate ability. Her ultimate ability can do a lot of damage, so it's very easy to use your ultimate ability just to get rid of your opponent's team and not them specifically. You can also push by using this ultimate ability. With Evil Piper, you can actually use your ultimate ability to push. That's important. This means that you can use this ultimate ability defensively and offensively, and it really doesn't matter when you use it. It's super flexible and you can pretty much use it in any situation and it will help you. So with that, let's move on to Piper Reese's ultimate ability. Her ultimate ability is, well, pretty much the opposite. What she's gonna do is do a backflip that deals an insane amount of damage at one spot on the map. I honestly think this ultimate ability is pretty hard to do, and it is inconsistent whether you're good at using it or not. I think you're not always gonna be able to hit it just because of the angles, the weird angles where your opponent is gonna be, and you're probably gonna have some trouble hitting your ultimate ability on your opponent, except if they're at the right spot in front of you. Regardless of the inconsistencies with this ultimate ability, it is really good. Like, it can do 1,000 damage, well over 1,000 damage in under a second. It's insane. It's good to escape a dangerous situation. Might be the best escape option in the game, and I'm not lying, because obviously when she uses her ult, everyone she's gonna aim at will just die pretty much. And of course she's gonna be out of this situation because she jumps way far back. It's also a great counter to attack 1v1 most cards in the game. If you're having trouble against one enemy in specific, well, you can probably grab Piper Reese and just use her ult on this character and they're just gonna die. I mean, Her ultimate ability can also kill a huge push because it does attack in one spot in particular, but her projectiles do have a lot of splash damage, so you're able to attack many cards at the same time if you need. However, this ultimate ability is much different than Evil Piper's, and that's partly because you cannot really use it offensively. This is a purely defensive move. You need to have somebody that's pushing you in order to be able to use it, because if no one approaches you, you're not going to be chasing people with Evil Piper. She's really not that fast, and that's not the point of this character. It is a sniper. If that ultimate ability was used on any other offensive card in the game, so maybe for example, I don't know, Cacturina, she's a very fast card, and she could actually push on people and use her ultimate ability to completely get rid of them. But Evil Piper doesn't do that. It's just sort of a problem that players have to deal with. It makes this card unique, and she can do a lot of things that most cards in the game cannot. So that is that in the game. Now, who has the best ultimate ability? I think still it's Evil Piper. I mean, I think this one is more arguable because obviously they're completely different and they're gonna work with different playstyles. But I do think that Evil Piper is much more flexible with her ultimate ability. It's really strong. You can use it on bunkers, do a lot of damage on your opponents, do 1v1, 1 versus AI. It really doesn't matter. It's super useful. So that's why I think Evil Piper has a better ultimate ability. Now we're gonna talk about Frag Powers. That's gonna be pretty short. You can see both of these characters have different Frag Powers. First one, we have Evil Piper, which does have an ability duration that is increased by 4 for the first one, and she deals more damage with 20% more with her second Frag Power. I think those are pretty simple Frag Powers. When you look at it, the first one is not really that much. It's 4 seconds more on your ultimate ability, and you already have 10 seconds, so it's a 40% increase. It is nice. But considering that she's already in her ultimate ability a long time, I don't think this changes things that much. Now the second one, also very solid. It's not broken, but it's super strong. 20% more DPS. I think anyone will really take this Frag Power happily. And now for Piper Reese, we have with her first Frag Power, the fire rate is increased by 30%. So that's pretty much also a 30% higher DPS on this card compared to the 20% more with Evil Piper. So I think that her first Frag Power is better than Evil Piper's second, and her second one does increase the weapon projectile radius by 30%. This is actually pretty huge because we need to remember that this card can hit multiple characters with her explosion radius on her main fire. If you increase her explosion radius, she's going to be able to hit a lot more cards much more consistently. I can't say I've tried this, but in theory I think this Frag Power can be really strong. So who has the best Frag Power? I honestly think this one's gonna be Piper Reese. Is that a big difference? Definitely not. They both have really good Frag Powers, but I think that if I got Piper Reese's main fire, I would be more happy, and that would make her a better card for me. And now we have the last category of this video, which is the playstyle. Both of these cards are really gonna have a hugely different playstyle. You're gonna see Piper Reese is much more campy, as you would have expected watching this video, and Evil Piper is a much more aggressive card. This card can go on bunkers. Evil Piper can really just do whatever she wants, completely rush the enemy using her ultimate ability. This is mostly why I prefer this card. Maybe you could make the argument that Piper Reese is actually a better card. I do think that maybe at higher level she is a better card because it's gonna be much easier for her to get rid of enemies when they're at a lower level, and she's gonna be able to pretty much dominate the map because she doesn't have to move to actually kill enemies. She just has to stay at the same place and well, make benefit of her DPS. Anyway, but you really cannot make the argument that Piper Reese is more fun, because she's not. Evil Piper is badass. She's super fun to play. She's not campy at all. She's like pretty much the complete opposite of that. I mean, you can try to camp with this card, but it's not gonna work. Anyway, with Piper Reese, I fear that she will become the new Zap Girl. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's pretty much why I'm on Team Evil Piper. She's more fun. Exploding into your opponent's face with Evil Piper is just kind of funny. And while playing with Piper Reese, it's just kind of boring. Of course, that's my opinion. Play the cards you want, but I know who I'm going to be playing in the following seasons. So here you go. That's what I think of the new cards. To be more specific right now, I'd say that Evil Piper is maybe top 9 or 10 best card in the game, and Piper Reese sort of follows her at place maybe 12 or 13, something like that. They're really close. Both of these cards are good, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of broken cards in the game right now that can beat both of these cards pretty easily, even at a higher level. I can say I've played against higher level Evil Pipers and higher level Piper Reeses, and I've been able to get rid of a lot of them, but I mean, they are really strong cards to play against and to play with. So let me know in the comments if there are things that I haven't mentioned that I should, or tell me in the comments who you actually think is the best one, because that's something that you could argue both ways, I think. So anyway, I hope you guys like this video. Remember to subscribe, because it's not impossible. We might be able to get 1,000 subscribers before Christmas. And remember, there's a face reveal. I'm gonna be able to make more live streams, and I'll be able to be a official content creator for Frag. So that's kind of amazing. Anyway, won't bore you with the details. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.